Brightest blessings, this is Raven, and today we are going to sort our signatures out inside the journal cover that we made in the last video. So I have reinforced the spine piece of paper with a piece of file folder. Any thicker card will do, and this isn't a step you have to do if you've got a nice thick paper and you want to hide your stitching. So we have that there. You're going to need a needle, preferably a relatively thick one, and some twine or string. This is some twine, but you can also use some various different things, and I will link a couple of really good Amazon kits that have everything that you need in it to be able to complete this process. And then, sorry, reaching over, you will also need something for making your holes. This is from We Are Memory Keepers. I don't use this all of the time. However, for today's video, this is going to be easier to use. You will also need an awl. Again, this came with this set, but if I can reach it without knocking everything over and moving the camera, this is the one that I normally use, okay? And instead of having something like this, you could measure out your holes with a ruler and do it that way, and put a thick book or some foam or something underneath it and put your holes in that way, and then measure them in your papers as well. So let's put that back. Sorry, it will move the camera, but if I don't put it back, I shall lose it. Move all this out of the way for a second, because we need to pick the papers. So this is my tub of papers ready to go into signatures. So some of these are printed, some of these are coffee dyed, they're all different sizes, different colours, so on and so forth. So we want something that is going to suit these papers, okay? So I like to do roughly, I'm thinking 12 or 13 pages per signature. So let's have a look at what I have got. We'll do some coffee dyed ones first, I think. Got one of those. Not too bothered about the pinky coloured ones. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got a few of these that I have stamped butterflies on, so we can use those as well. So how many did I say we got? 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Lovely. So we've got 20 coffee dyed papers. Now I like mine crinkly, so I'm not going to worry about them being flat. Obviously this one is flat, okay, and ideally for a beginner, this is what you need, because trying to sew in signatures that are really crinkled like this one can be a bit of a challenge. I like to have crinkled pages in there. It gives me some texture, and as you can see, I've tried to pick pages that are all a little bit different. So now that we've done that, I have some mini pages that I would like to include, which comes from the same kit as the journal. Again, I will link that below. So I'm just going to have a quick look through these, and these have been printed onto my scraps because they're small pieces of paper, and all I've done is stencil on the back of these. So I'm just going to pick a couple. Those three. If we have 3 signatures, we can have 1 in each one. Quite a large section here of papers from this kit. I'm just looking at some of the other pre-printed pages to see if there's any there that I might want to use. I don't think I will, or if I do, it will just be coffee dyed style. Okay, so I think that one would go quite nicely in there. One of those. And that one. And that one. Let's start from the back. And these have all just been printed on double-sided matte photo paper or matte brochure paper. And then inside I have just printed a coffee dyed effect or tea dyed effect, just so that I have a little bit of something different. And a couple of these that have got a bit more decoration on for the signature covers. I think we'll go with those. I'm not sure if there will be any others that I want to use. No, I think that will do. So this is really useful when you're making journals, especially if you're going to be making multiple journals, is when you coffee dye or print out pages, is to print a couple of extra ones that you can slot into a tub like this, so that every time I make a journal, or if I'm making a Book of Shadows page, I can flick through here and pick a piece of paper that I want to use. I mean, these, for example, would be perfect to go inside a pocket on a page. So I like to have things ready so that I'm not rushing about trying to find what it is that I need. And as I said, these are all different sizes. I've got some smaller ones in here, some thinner ones, and that means that I can really have a variety inside my journals. So I'm going to put that up out the way, move this journal aside for a second. Now I know that my papers are going to fit into this journal without cutting, however, just to show you, okay. Now obviously that doesn't look like there's all that much in there, but by the time we've put ephemera and things inside, it will bulk out, all right. And we've got a nice gap top and bottom there as well, so that things aren't going to be sticking out, and we'll worry about the closure once we've finished everything else. So for today, all we're going to concentrate on is getting these signatures sewn together and put inside the book. Okay, so we said we wanted 3 signatures. Okay, let's just get those butterfly ones out because I've got enough for one for each signature, and the same with those. And the cover ones I wanted to use, I have that one, I have that one. Do I want to use that one, or is there another one? That one, I think. Okay, so these are the covers for each of our signatures. So think of these as mini journals, okay? And we're putting the pages together. So for this first one, we're going to open them up like this, and I'm going to pick what pages I want to put inside. So I'm going to put a coffee dyed, and then I think I'm going to use a small one here. Now it's up to you where, if you have smaller pieces, whereabouts you want to put them, but what you need to try and remember is that you're going to have to put holes through these, and you don't want this to fall out. I prefer to put them in the middle because a lot of the time I will do my holes quite close together in the centre, so that means that I would probably get this page in. Go for another coffee dyed. So that's 4. Go for butterfly, that's 5. We'll go for a printed page, that's 6. Another coffee, that's 7. Another printed, that's 8. And I like to do it this way, so that's 9. This is 10. Let's go for this one. I think what I might do is add this a bit further back so that we have this one in the centre of our signature. Okay, so we're just, sorry, I keep going out of camera shot. So what we're going to do is keep that together for now. I'm going to use a clip just for a second. Okay, number 2, we'll go for this one. We'll have the butterfly one, and then a printed, and then a coffee dye, and I think a little one, another coffee dye, a printed one. I've just had a blue coloured one. Let's have a plainer one. This one. So how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go for this printed one. So we're at 9 now. Okay. Ten. 11. Leave that for a second and let's see what we're going to do with this one before I decide what we're going to do with the middle. So let's Flinging things about. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So was it 11 we went for in this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we've had 11 in each. I'm thinking we put this one in here to make the 12. We've got 12, 12. I want one more printed one, I think. Sorry, reaching over. I think what we'll do, although that's folded that way, we're going to fold it the other way so that this can go in the centre. Like so. Okie dokie. Put those off to the side for a second and get my tool. So I will try and link this for you. It's not a necessary process. It's just a bit easier for me today because my hands are all over the place with my fibromyalgia. So what we're going to do, take that out. If you're going to use this, you're going to want to centre it over the holes. Now obviously the holes are here. If I put that against the ridge, I'm only going to have holes this side and none this side. And what I want to do is have these roughly in the centre of this piece of paper. And then this fiddly make sure we've got this, sorry, head in the camera, nicely lined up. And put our ties in. I haven't been able to post much the last few days. I've been quite poorly. There we are. So we've got this lined up now where we want it. Okay, I'm going to take out all and we're going to look at where the centre is. So to me, without measuring and just looking, I would automatically say that this here is roughly the middle. So we're going to stick 3 holes. Through here, so this is the middle. And then I like to go a fair amount of way. A lot of, if you're just going to be using the same level of papers as in the height, I would go to the bottom. But because I like to have that smaller one in there, I'm going to do it probably for this time around about 6 to 7 from the centre. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go for 7 and I'm going to do another 3 holes. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and another 3 holes. Okay. So now that we've done that, we can take this out. This is quite a handy tool if you suffer with dexterity issues and holding things together. So you can see there we've got our holes. All right. And that's all we need to do a 3-fold pamphlet stitch, which is what we're going to do to put our signatures together. I'm just going to move these out of the way. So now that we've got our signature together and you've got everything where you want it, we need to make sure that everything is lined up correctly. And then what I like to do is use clips of one form or another. It doesn't have to be these. It can be any clips that you have, and you're going to want to make sure that your papers are all really into this crease for the fold, okay? So here, I'm just pushing my finger in. There we are. You can do this all the way around, or you can just do a couple. I like to go all the way around. It just makes it a little bit more sturdy. You could use big paper clips for this as well if you wanted to. So I'm just pushing that in again. There we are. And this time we're going to use this section. Now it's going to try and bow and move about a little bit. Don't panic about that, because we're going to put this on the opposite way, okay? And we're not going to do it up tight because we need to make sure that we are level all the way along. There we are. Now, if you're not going to remember which was the centre one, you can mark it if you want to. I know that the centre one was this one, so I'm going to really give that a good press because you're going through lots of pieces of paper. And we decided to go 7 from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is there. Now when I take this out, we're going to keep these clips on and just make sure that our awl, our pokey tool, has gone all the way through. So what I like to do is push the awl all the way through, because the awl gets slightly thicker the further down it goes, and this gives our needle a little bit of wiggle room as we start to sew it in. Right, to put that up out of the way. So I've already threaded my needle, and because this is a hidden binding, we're going to start from the outside. So, is this the first page? No, this was the back page. So when we are putting our signatures together and into our book, we need to make sure that our signatures are all going to line up correctly with our holes, okay? And when we do that, it can be a little bit tricky to make sure that everything is the right way round, that everything is where we need it to be, okay? We are going to go this way because this is the way it goes through, and we're going to go through the center like this, and then go through the center of our signatures. Now again, this can be a little bit tricky, so take your time. I'm going to thread that through and leave a little tail on the end. We're going to go through the bottom. Like this. And then back into the middle without catching on the previous thread, and pull tight. We're going to go through the next hole, and we're going to make sure that we are staying in line with the rest. Okay, now that we've done that, we want to pull this relatively tight, and then we are going to thread, she says, and then the needle comes out. We're going to thread twine underneath there like this, and we are going to pull sideways to make sure that that is nice and tight before we do 1, 2, and I like to do a third just for good measure, 3. Now you could keep these in here if you wanted to, because this backside is all going to be glued to the inside of our cover, and these could be charms at the bottom if that's what you'd like to do. I'm not going to do that today, so I'm just going to snip them off, leaving a little bit on, because once I finish doing this, I'm going to put a little bit of tape over this centre part, and then we're going to glue everything to put it in to our book. So we can now take these off, ready to move on to the next one. So there we have a signature, a sewn in signature. All right, and when all of these signatures are in, that is when we will glue it to the inside of our book. Now I've chosen to have my signatures closer to the top, so that then there is plenty of room at the bottom to put charms or, you know, extra bits and bobs, so that when it's into our book, this is what you will see at the top here. Okay, so we've got our first signature, and we'll flick through it quickly so that you can see. And our little book is nicely sewn in, our little page rather is nicely sewn in. We've got a nice variety of papers. Here is the centre, and that is the only place you will see the sewing. Otherwise, it's all going to be hidden. All right. If you wanted to not have it hidden and you wanted to add charms on the inside, you would do it the opposite way around. So instead of starting on the outside, you would start on the inside.